Knicks family, what's poppin'? It's your boy. Ladies and gentlemen, we are in day 2 of the New York Knicks training camp. I got my man Tony Crow. Andy will be back in the building shortly. And I think Nate will be here too. And we're going to break it down from top to bottom, what's going on in day 2 of the Knicks training camp. So let me get my man Tony in the building on over here so we can start breaking down this discussion. And it's going to be a good one, ladies and gentlemen. Tony Crow, what's popping with you, brother? How you feeling?
What's good, Sim? Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the panel when they get in here. Yo, Black, it's time. I'm good, man.
Yeah, man.
Ready to
Have
get
you
this little
seen,
talk on.
you've been able to, just check out, see everything that's going on in training camp so far?
I seen all the interviews, but I'm ready to break down what we heard.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah, no doubt. Andy, what's popping with you, man? How you feeling?
What up, Sam? What up, Tony? What up to the chat? Happy to be on with you guys. Like I said, every Knicks fresh news for me, it's like, like a drink of coffee in the morning or a drink of a Red Bull. So I'm fired up for this. So
Yeah. Well, yesterday, one of the things that came out of training camp yesterday that I think a lot of people were interested in is Derrick Rose saying unequivocally that Kemba Walker is going to be the starting point guard. And, of course, likewise, Kemba Walker says, it doesn't matter to me, just as long as we're about winning. Tom Thibodeau responded to that in what I think is probably a typical Tom Thibodeau response. Let's take a listen to what Tom Thibodeau said, and then we'll have a discussion about it, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. This is Tom Thibodeau on Kemba being the starting point guard.
Yeah, pretty much. I had an idea going in what we wanted to look at, and the one thing is I feel very strongly about our second unit played very well together last year. So yeah, I want them to stay intact, but that doesn't mean it'll stay that way. And a lot of these guys are interchangeable, so they're going to play with both groups. And I've never really been concerned with who starts as much as I am with who finishes. So the guys that give us the best chance to win are going to finish.
All right, so there you go right there. And it sounds to me like, it's going to be Kemba who is the starter. He kind of already has that, in his head before he even came into training camp that, yeah, Kemba is my guy. And I'm going to tell you what, Tom Thibodeau, every time he talks about Kemba Walker, I noticed it yesterday, he just seems so excited. As soon as Kemba Walker's name was brought up, a big, giant cheese came across his face. He just seems excited to have Kemba Walker on his team. I don't know if there's much to discuss here besides the fact that Tom Thibodeau basically confirms the fact that Kemba is going to be the starter and Derrick Rose will be coming off the bench. Derrick Rose is at a point in his career where I don't think it even matters to him. He just wants to contribute. I don't know if it matters to Kemba that much. But, Kemba's in a different area of his career than Derrick Rose is. Although they're close to the same age, Kemba's in a different spot. You know what I mean? Any thoughts on that whatsoever, Tony?
Well, Kimba's pretty much started his whole career. So I think that's the smartest reason to just keep him in that role. Derrick Rose has already made that adjustment in this as far as his career and accepting whatever position or role he's going to be put in. We spoke about that in the past. He's a very humble dude. He made that adjustment that a lot of superstars aren't able to make or it's difficult for them to make. So I think just for chemistry reasons, that makes the most sense. But it is going to be interesting who finishes the game. You know what I mean? Like he put that emphasis out there. You know what I mean? Are we going to see both of them? Or is it, if not, is it going to be a tough decision? Is it going to be based off of who's hot at that moment? Does it go down a matchup? You know what I mean? Like, so it's dope. I'm excited.
That's the interesting part. The real interesting part. Who cares who really starts? I don't. It doesn't matter to me. And couple years ago when I said Mitchell Robinson shouldn't start, everybody said I was hating on him. And I tried to say it really doesn't matter if he starts or not. Is he playing? That's what counts, right? And is he there at the end of the game? And it's the same situation. Doesn't really matter who's the starter. I mean, I believe Kemba is definitely going to be the starter because Derrick Rose, like you heard Tom Thibodeau say, has been in that second unit. Well, he didn't say that, but he likes the second unit and the continuity that they're going to bring to the game because they played together last season. And you're going to have development from Quickly, development from Obi, who we're going to talk about later on in this show. So that second unit should be good together. And if you switch it out, put Kemba the second unit and Derrick Rose starting, just doesn't make sense. But Andy, your thoughts on that fourth quarter and who finishes the game?
Yes, and this is, I think the rotation part of the current Knicks squad, this is a topic for a whole, maybe even 3-hour show. Because, the rotations that Tibbs can, mix and match with these guys, he can put both, Kemba and D-Rose on the court. We know that he loves playing guys that he likes around 30 minutes even. So if you put, if you want to play D-Rose and Kemba around 30 minutes, I don't think, you will have to mesh them out together, right? Because it's not like there's 60 minutes on one position. So there have to be at least a couple, maybe over 10, maybe 15 minutes around, playing together. So that's going to be really interesting. I think at the end of the games, they're going to be both on the court because you need as many threats possible, as many, solutions and options on the offense. On defense, it's going to be a little bit different, but it depends if you're asking like 10 minutes left in the game or you're asking me like 2 possessions left in the game. Because just last possessions, I feel that we are going to see plenty of Julius Randle playing the center position, and that's going to leave the rest of the spots for D-Rose, Kemba, Evan Fournier, and probably RJ. And I think that's going to be the thing. But then again, I don't see him using that lineup through the whole game many minutes. So they're not going to be, they're not going to probably build that cohesion that Tibbs loves and wants.
Right.
So I'm really interested, how is he going to work? And I believe in less than a week, we're going to see how's that going to be, sorted out in the first preseason game. It's not going to be like it's written in stone after that game. But I think, Tibbs has already that rotation at least, sorted out with a pencil. And then he's just going to use that pinpoint, pen and do it before day one. So,
see, the lineup that you said there with Kemba, D-Rose, Fournier, RJ, and Randle obviously is very small because Randle is only 6'8". And I say only 6'8" because, he plays that power forward spot. And if you're putting him at the center spot, now he's a 6'8" center. It makes it very small. Tom Thibodeau, we're going to look at it and listen to it a little bit later on, talked about those small lineups a little bit in his interview today. I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting to see who. I think it's. Here it is. Tom Thibodeau trusts Derrick Rose because he's been with him and he knows what Derrick Rose can and has done for him. Kemba Walker, he's just getting to know what Kemba Walker can do for him. He obviously knows what he can do and what he's done in the league. But what can he do for him playing in his system? And I think that's going to play a major role, at least early in the season. Let's say that. Early in the season. Obviously, if one of the players is not playing well and another guy is playing well, he's going to go with the hot hand. But I wouldn't be surprised if you've seen the two, sharing minutes down the stretch. One on the bench, one in the game. Especially with Derrick Rose. How tall is Derrick Rose? 6'2", 6'3"? Kemba Walker, 6
he
foot,
looks like couple of inches,
6'3" and 6'1".
bigger than Kemba.
6'3" and 6'1". I'm not.
And he might not be 6'1". He might be 6 foot.
Yeah, because there was a
Kemba.
picture of Derrick Rose and Kemba next to each other. And Kemba was
that was-
small.
Yeah, big brother, little brother. That was a picture.
Yeah, that was Kimball was small in that picture. So I guess we'll see what happens there. That's going to be something interesting to watch when the season starts. We won't really get a chance to see it too much during the preseason. Neither one of those guys, they may not play a lot of minutes during the preseason. But we'll see. It's going to be interesting. I want to listen to another short clip of Tom Thibodeau just talking about how everyone has to bring something. So this is Tom Thibodeau, ladies and gentlemen. Let's take a listen.
I love our rookies. We got, and I said the same thing about Quick and Obi. Like, even though Obi struggled some early on, the thing that I liked was that he never stopped working, and so he was in all the time. And then I think when the young guys come in and they see the gym full of people, and RJ's in there, Julius is just an incredible worker. He's the ultimate gym rat. So I think that helps set the tone for the team. And we want a team full of those guys, as we want a team full of leaders. We don't want it to fall upon one guy. So if everyone's doing the right things, the group will get a lot better. And that's what we're striding towards. We want daily improvement, and everyone, the work part is equal. Roles are going to be different. Some guys are going to play more than others. Some guys are going to get more shots than others. Some guys, we rely heavily on Nerlens and Mitch and Taj, and their roles are different, but they're vital and they're critical for the team. So there's a great appreciation for what they bring. And even with Kevin Knox last year, I thought he was terrific every day in practice. So everyone has to bring something.
All right. You heard him talk about, just everybody brings something, right? Everybody has their role to play, brings their piece, brings their dish to the potluck. You know what I'm saying? Everybody brings their dish to the potluck. He talked about Kevin Knox. There hasn't been a lot of talk about Kevin Knox during this training camp. He talked about him yesterday as well. Is he bringing up Kevin Knox just to make Kevin Knox feel good? Or, do you think he's really thinking about Kevin Knox and trying to find a way to put him in the game? I'm going to come to you, Andy. Nate, can you do me a favor? Can you adjust your camera so that your head is about even with Andy's head? On the spot training, ladies and gentlemen. On the spot training right here. Go ahead, Andy.
I got a couple of inches on Nate, so that's going to be hard for him.
all he has to do is pull his laptop a little bit forward, and there you go, Nate. See that? On the spot training, my friend. Sending yourself up a little bit, and we looking good. Go ahead, Andy.
Yes, and going back to the Kevin Knox mention from Thibs, I think as we also gonna hear later on from Obi, that these guys feel comfortable with each other as teammates. Mm-hmm. Obi is gonna be talking about, and I bet you got the clip about trust. I think he's trying to build that trust with Kevin Knox also as a player-coach relationship thing. He didn't get many playing minutes, but I feel like he at least wants to give all of these guys a fair chance. And that's really important for guys, for young players in the NBA, because, vets like D-Rose or Kemba, you just go to them and you just tell them, listen, I'm going to be playing this and this dude for this and this reason. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, young guys are going to try to read between the lines when there's nothing to read there. So, they're going to overthink it. That's why I think, Thibs is mentioning him, because he's going to give him a chance. And if he's not going to pan out, he's going to have to wait in the line and get a chance again. But I think, he's just trying to ease the blow maybe, because I don't see Kevin Knox getting major minutes. I think it's going to be spot minutes if there are going to be minutes available for him even. So, I think he wants to be a good PR also coach
Yeah.
for each and every of these guys on the roster. So,
Yeah, and that's something that I've respected about Tom Thibodeau since he's been the Knicks coach, is the fact that he stands up for his guys no matter what it is. He's not going to bash them in the media. He's not going to throw subtle hints here and there. I'm pretty sure, what he tells us in the media, he tells them in practice, plus more, plus a lot more, and obviously stuff that he's not going to tell us. Nate, what does Kevin Knox have to do? We talked about this when we did the Obi versus Knox training camp battle. What does Kevin Knox have to do to earn himself some minutes?
I mean, to be honest with you, I don't think that he can really do anything. I think that his fate is kind of set in stone already with this team. You have a lot of young players that are already on this roster and that are competing for his minutes or competing against him too. I think Tibbs is just addressing the elephant in the room that everybody's asking because he's still on this team. I don't expect him to really contribute anything in this season, to be honest with you. But if you're just asking me like what he needs to do, he needs to play defense and he needs to rebound the ball. I mean, we know he can. He's a decent shooter, but he needs to rebound the ball and needs to play defense. I mean, you have to play defense with Tibbs. If you don't play defense with Tibbs, you're not going to get on the court.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to say that's necessarily true because
About
last
the
year
defense?
his defensive numbers were better than Obi's.
But let me throw this at you. I felt that Obi had to get the minutes that he did, which really wasn't nothing, because the fact is that Knick fans were wondering why the pick was Obi, and really it was a Leon Rose decision. I don't think it necessarily was a Tibbs decision to get Obi. I think this had Leon Rose written all over it. So Leon Rose had to display or show the Knick fans, and at least the coach, at least the potential that he has going forward. And I don't necessarily think that Tibbs really wanted to put him on the court, but I think it was more so because Obi was the 8th pick of the draft, and a lot of people were scratching their head why they didn't go Halliburton or somebody else that was a bigger need than doubling down on a power forward when you already got Julius Randle. So I think if you really asked Tibbs, put him under a microscope and asked him, I'm sure he probably would have wanted to play Knox over Obi because Knox had the experience that Obi didn't have.
Maybe. I mean, that could be the case. And we had a big discussion about that and whether or not, Obi deserved the minutes or Knox should have been playing. I thought Knox should have been playing at least earlier in the season when Obi was really struggling. I thought he should have been playing. Obi turned it on at the end. But I'm going to tell you what. Tom Thibodeau really speaks glowingly of Obi Toppin and his work ethic and the advancements that he's made even over this summer. Like, he really does speak glowingly of him.
He's warming up to him. I really feel like he's warming up to him. He wasn't sure in the beginning, maybe.
Yeah, that could be. That could be. Tony, any thoughts in here?
Kevin Knox, what he needs to do. That's
what he needs to do. Does Kevin Knox like really have to come in and basically in practice? Tom Thibodeau said he loves what he was bringing to practice, but does he have to come in and basically dominate to say, I deserve to be playing?
I don't think he has to dominate. I mean, he has the clear advantage over the 3 rookies, in my opinion. I know everybody is high. I'm not saying I'm not high on the rookies. I'm just saying, chain of command type thing, and Tibbs' reputation. So I think he has that advantage that Tibbs seen him in live game. You know what I mean? Knows what he could do for sure in live game. It's been in the rotation before, so I think he's ahead of those 3 guys off jump. Right now, I put him like as 11th man. So his
that's true. I agree.
If he just continues to show that he's good in practice, I think if a guy goes out, you know what I mean, mainly Quickly or Burks, because because I say quickly because Burks can move down, and then Knox could come in,
right,
or replacing Burks as the second man, small forward. But I think that's his best chance. Like you know what I mean. Like at this point, it's hard to even say Tibbs is going to play 10 solid. You know what I mean? It might be 10 plays, but 2 of those guys might get 8 minutes, 6 minutes. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So I don't see him playing 11 guys. So I think somebody's going to have to, need some rest or whatever the case for him to get his first opportunity.
Right.
I don't see him in the initial second unit.
Okay. And in the chat, somebody in the chat, Kerry Cox said it's not going to be Knox versus Obi. It's Knox versus Burks as RJ's backup. I kind of disagree with you. I think it would be Knox versus Obi. Now, it could also be Knox versus Burks, excuse me, because Knox can play the 4 and he can also play the 3. But when you look at that lineup, Burks is going to be getting playing time. To me, there is no one that's taking Burks playing time. There's not a rookie and there's not Kevin Knox. Neither one of those guys are taking Alec Burks playing time. Tom Thibodeau likes Alec Burks. I mean, he used him. He knows he can use him from the point guard spot to the 3 spot.
1, 2, 3.
And he's a veteran. A young, I don't want to say a young vet, but what is he, 28, 29 years old? He's not coming out the lineup. All right, so the only other person that you can see Kevin Knox replacing in that lineup is Obi Toppin. Now, like Tony said, let's say Derrick Rose is out. Well, then, now you can have Emmanuel quickly and Alec Burks go to the 2 spot, Kevin Knox go to the 3 while Obi's at the 4, Nerlens Noel or Mitchell Robinson, however things work out, is at the 5. You know what I'm saying? But for the most part, I mean, I kind of think that Kevin Knox, in order for him to impress upon the coaching staff that he deserves to play, I feel like he's got to come in training camp and really kill it. And if he doesn't really kill it in training camp, if he's not killing it in preseason, he's just going to be an afterthought. I think he's got to really come in and do something to show and prove that he deserves to play. If not, he'll be an end of the bench guy. I do agree he's 11th man.
Do you think it would be easier for him to fill in at the 4 than at the 5? I know ultimately we both agree long term he's gonna be a 4. Whatever improvements he makes, which route do you think is easier for him to see the floor first? Improving that much at the 4 position, or because I think at the 3 he doesn't have to improve much. He just has to be more consistent, more solid. I think there's a lot of things he got to work on to be a full-time 4, especially defensively.
Defensively, well, yeah, I mean, defensively, I guess it depends on who you're playing. There's so many different kinds of guys in the league. That's what's crazy. The league has so many different types of guys. You know what I mean? You could be playing a 4 who's 6'6" in this league.
That's
you know what I mean?
True that.
Right? Because he's like mad strong or something like that. So he's playing the 4. So I do think it's about who the Knicks are playing in matchups. Yeah, definitely, without a doubt. It's about matchups. I'm going to circle back around to Tom Thibodeau, but I want to listen to Obi. I thought Obi gave a really, really good interview, and I'm going to play a lot of this interview, right, because I thought it was really good, and then we'll chop it up, we'll talk about it, and then we'll get to what Tom Thibodeau said about Julius Randle and Obi Toppin playing together. All right, but I want to listen to Obi Toppin in his interview. So this is Obi, and it's a little bit hard for you to hear the questions, but I think from his answers, you'll be able to understand what the questions were. And in the meantime, while I'm getting this queued up, ladies and gentlemen, please make sure you hit that subscribe button. Subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. Ring that notification bell and make sure you check to have all notifications. And if you don't have all notifications, make sure you do it right now so that you get every single notification. whenever we drop anything, Queens Court, controversy, whatever it is, make sure you got that done. This is Obi Toppin.
Oh my God, I was excited.
I ain't had no interview like this yet. Check 1, 2. It don't even work. Oh, wow, my bad. I thought I was gonna echo or something. It's been pretty good. We've been out there working really hard to get better. And we're gonna continue doing that every day.
How much of a difference is you coming in now this year as opposed to last year, not having any summer league, just where you're at right now?
I just feel like I had more time to work with these guys. We went to summer league, and like everyone said, as soon as the season was over last year, me and Quick was in here every single day, putting in the work, and not only me and Quick, but other guys been popping in and working out with us, and it's been a grind all summer, and it's gonna show in this upcoming year. So
Taylor said he feels like you're a lot better now. What specifically on the court do you feel like you're doing better than you did last year?
I just feel like everything's slowing down a little bit more for me, but like I said, I'm putting in the work just like everybody else, and I've been doing that the whole summer. So I'm just gonna continue doing that and getting better every day.
What made you want to make every day?
I love the game of basketball, and I know there's always room for improvement, and coming in here, especially coming off the last year, I know I had to improve a lot. So coming in here every single day this summer, just that was my motivation. Come in and just be better than what you were last year.
And you were was it 7 days a week, 6? How often?
Nah, it was every day. I'll probably take probably Sunday off, maybe Saturday, but I was in here every day. Me and Quick.
Did you ever last year first set you didn't get down on yourself at all? And was there something that you felt clicked when things got turned around?
I'm not gonna say I got down on myself. I hold myself to a high standard just because I know I want to be perfect, but I know I can't be perfect. So if I'm having a bad day, I'm in the gym. I'm in the gym every day, but I'm holding myself to a certain standard, and I feel like everybody around me, the coaches and players, they hold us accountable for everything we do. So me having that in the back of my mind, every time I can do something to get better and work on my game, I'm doing it.
Your 3-pointers kind of like a roller coaster last season, especially with the corner three.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something that you worked on? Is that something? Is that something you think you can change or have worked on?
Yeah.
How do you forecast your 3-pointers?
Yeah, for sure. Three-pointers was one of the main focuses. Well, not main, but one of the things I've worked on this summer. Not only corner, but everywhere around the 3-point line. But I'm working on every single thing, not only threes. I'm working on getting to the basket, working on defense. Defense is gonna win a lot more games than offense. So I'm working really hard, just like everyone else is here, and we're gonna show that. So
You guys talk a lot about the success.
Cameraman needs some work.
Mhm.
Do you guys kind of, second unit, do you guys kind of take pride in having that success together?
We just know when we know what we have to do when we get into the game. We love to compete, and when we go out there, we know when the starters come back in, we wanna leave that energy out there on the floor. We're young, we got legs, and we're bringing a lot of energy onto the court. And once those older guys, those vets start to get back on the court, they feel our energy, and they just keep it going.
Was there a turning point for you last season, whether it was a game or practice, where you say, all right, start feeling more comfortable?
I'll probably say during the second half of the season after All-Star break, I started to feel a little bit more comfortable, just because I felt a little more trust. I felt like people were okay, now Obi's gonna make that shot if I pass it to him in the corner, or Obi's gonna get this defensive stop. I felt more comfortable out on the floor, and I feel like the players and coaches like felt that too, and I feel like that helped me.
Well, how did I know like earlier in the season it'd be like you get in the first half and it's like, all right, Obi made a mistake and then you get yanked out right away. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How did you like stay focused mentally during that? And like that's gotta be hard, right?
Nah, I wouldn't say it was hard just because like I know why I was getting taken out. Like I always knew if I was being taken out, it was because I didn't do something that I'm supposed to do. Like we obviously don't want to lose. So if I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do on the court, why keep me in? So like simple things like being a low man if someone drives and helping on that, like I know I got to be in that spot, and if I'm not in that spot, like coach is gonna hold me accountable for it. So like I always trust his judgment. Like he's a great coach for a reason, and like I believe in everything he does. So he was doing it for a reason.
Did that motivate you?
Yeah, for sure, definitely. That's why I went into the summer working really hard every single day. So.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, and you can hear the remainder of that interview by clicking the link that's in the description. Of course, it's on the New York Knicks YouTube page. And you can hear all of these videos and interviews. But anything there that you heard from Obi Toppin that you really do like? Andy? Nate? I meant Nate. Sorry, Andy, I'm going to come to you. Nate had his hand up. Go ahead, Nate.
Maturity. Very mature, very professional. He's very aware of what he's doing wrong, which is a really good sign for a young player. He's admitting his faults. Like he said, I know why coach pulled me out. I know that I need to do better. I love to hear that. I think any coach loves to hear that with a player that's young, that admits what they did wrong. I'm really rooting for this guy. I think that, I don't think he'll ever start in the NBA, but I think he'll be like a Montrezl Harrell type of mold. He could have that kind of impact off the bench, and hell, that would be great for us, especially backing up Julius Randle. So I'm very impressed with his maturity. He just sounds like a guy who gets it and understands it and is willing to do whatever it takes to get better.
Okay, all right, Andy.
Yeah, I agree with what Nate said, that he, is more mature, but he also understands the difficulties that he had on the court and why he got pulled. That means also him saying this out loud on basically a press conference, means that he doesn't hold any kind of grudges versus the coach, because other players that would be pulled and stuff like that, they would say, like, listen, I know I got to do something better, and he just pinpointed basically what did he do wrong and stuff like that specifically. It's not like I don't know what happened, why I didn't get minutes and stuff like that, because that would be some unclear stuff going on. Meanwhile, he knew everything that happened, why he did get pulled, why he didn't get minutes and stuff like that. I'm really happy that he acknowledged it. And we didn't get to the part when he was asked about the defense, about what he was working on, not only shots but also defense. I'm happy that he mentioned that defense. So
yeah,
I'm really happy about that.
Yeah, he and you could see it during the summer league that his defense really improved. His activity on the defensive side improved.
His awareness, right? He was way more aware that where his guys were running around, no backdoor cuts and stuff like that. That's really important.
Yeah, exactly. And his hands always moving, just making the offensive player have to think about, okay, what am I doing? Where am I going? Because he's always got his hands in. He had his feet in good position. And if he can take those steps defensively, it will allow the Knicks to be able to play small and have him and Julius Randle on the floor together at the same time, if Tom Thibodeau likes it. We're going to hear from Tom Thibodeau in a second about how he feels about Julius Randle and Obi Toppin on the floor at the same time. Tony, any thoughts about what you heard from Obi?
Just more confirmation that the front office, like these guys that they're bringing in, they're coachable guys. I'm not gonna say they're looking at that over talent, because I think they're both talented guys too, or they're all talented guys too. But they're bringing in guys that want to learn, easy to coach, You know what I mean? They're not going to bring in any negativity at all. So that's basically what I feel about that. Excuse my birds. I'm gonna step aside real quick and cover them up.
Okay, all right. Do what you gotta do. Josh is in the chat. You know what I mean? Saying this, saying that. Whatever it is, they talking all kinds of junk, as Josh normally does. About Sim. I thought somebody 29 years old was young. I don't even know what he's talking about or what he's alluding to. But anyway, your thoughts on what you heard from Obi Toppin.
I didn't get a chance to listen to Obi Toppin that much. To be honest, I was still getting ready. But what I can say is I'm very excited. Just like I said yesterday, I am very excited to see him and Emmanuel quickly together on coming off the bench. I think that relationship is going to be big time for the Knicks, especially if they decide to keep these two guys around for a long time. That tempo in the second unit definitely needs to be fast. I think that would be the best way for Emmanuel quickly and Obi Toppin to work out with each other. And I just think that these guys are going to come into their own together, and I think that's a good thing.
Okay. All right. I want to take a listen to Tom Thibodeau and his thoughts on playing Julius Randle and Obi Toppin together. Let's take a listen.
Well, we'll get a look at it. It wasn't very effective last year. So, but the one thing about both guys, Obi, I think, is a lot better than he was a year ago, and Julius just continues to get better and better. So we'll see how it unfolds.
Is it the one that improves the rim protection?
The rim protection is the big thing. Yeah.
With Obi.
All right. So there you go. The rim protection is the big thing with having Obi and Julius Randle on the floor at the same time. Both guys are 6'8". Obviously, Julius Randle is stronger than Obi Toppin, right? So he can handle some of those big bruising centers a little bit better than Obi can, at least at this point in their careers. I guess he's going to look at it, but based on, information that he has from last year, he doesn't seem to be too excited about it, which is one of the reasons why he probably wants Nerlens Noel to be able to shoot the three from the corner. But that's a topic for another day. Andy, your thoughts? I'm coming to you, Josh. I'm coming to you.
I was gonna say that Tibbs probably just said that it didn't work out last season and stuff like that, and that he wanted to have more rim protection. But on the next interview, he's gonna say that he wants more rim protection and stretching out the floor to the 3-point line. I bet you so.
Exactly.
Just forgot about that thing. So,
right, that's exactly where it's gonna go. Go ahead, Josh.
Well, that's what I wanted to say. It's kind of a contradiction, right? On one end, you're saying you want to, take guys out the paint. On the next end, you say you want to put guys in the paint. And again, listen, I thought, and like we spoke about it off the air yesterday. I thought that if the Knicks were going to implement a system where they have, guys spread out, it would be most likely for Obi and a Julius playing together rather than Nerlens Noel, because to me that would make more sense. But if you're going to emphasize that you want to get guys back on transition defense, yet you want guards to crash the boards and grab rebounds, like how does that make sense?
So
you know what I'm saying? So it's just not really adding up to me.
It does, because on the offensive side is where you use the center to spread out the floor. On the defensive side, you still have him in the paint. You don't have to worry about him going to the 3-point line on the defensive side. And hold up, let me finish. And right, when you're talking about guys getting back on defense, right? If you have your center at the 3-point, if you have your center out at the 3-point line, it's not hard for him to get back on defense. He sees that shot go up and the team doesn't get the rebound, and he's headed down the floor. As a matter of fact, if you're talking about floor balance and the ball is on the opposite side of the floor, so Nerlens Noel is on the right corner, and the ball is on the left side of the floor, and that action is going towards the left, Nerlens Noel's his job is now to start inching up so that he can have floor balance to protect in the event that there's a fast break. So now it's quicker for him to be back.
I just think that it's kind of a flawed system in a way. I would rather the Knicks keep what they did yesterday. Last season, I would rather them stick to that. They got better players to run that system. I just don't think adding that wrinkle into the offense can get them more 3-point shots. they can get more
It's
three-point
not
shots.
about
by shooting the
getting
ball.
more 3-point shots. It's not about getting more 3-point shots. It's about being able to attack the rim. Did you see the video that I put out yesterday? And he had the 8 offensive principles. Did you see that?
Yes, and number 8 was threes.
One of them was threes. One of them was also attack the rim and rim reads. Okay, so when you're attacking the rim, there's several ways to do that. But one of the most effective ways to attack the rim is to have the floor spread open without a shot blocker under the rim so that your guards can attack the rim. So if you have your center out on the perimeter, you're going to pull out another center, the opposing center. You're going to pull him out to the perimeter, and it leaves that paint wide open for guys to walk down the lane and get layups and dunks and do all those type of things. That's what it's about.
I just think that, it sounds easy, when you put it that way. Again, and I understand the schematically, I understand what the concept is. But I'm talking about, it's just kind of a contradiction. When you spread your center, you take your center away from the paint so he can't get offensive rebounds. You want your guards to crash the boards to get rebounds in case of misses. And yet, at the same time, you want to prioritize transition defense. I just think that's very, very hard to do. Like, I understand, you would need to do that. But to me, those are two opposite ends of the spectrum. I don't think you can prioritize both of them. If you're going to have your guards crashing the boards, then how can you get back successfully on transition defense and make that a priority? That's what I'm saying.
Why can't you?
Because your guards are going to be under the rim crashing the boards.
But the guards,
and then you got your center. You got your center in the corner. How can they prioritize getting back on transition defense? Then?
Because your guards aren't the only people that get back on transition defense. You're not going to have
still 5-on-5.
You're not going to have every single guard. You're not going to have every single guard crashing the boards. You're going to have some people who have floor balance, and you're going to have some people crashing the boards. Nerlens Noel averaged 6.4 rebounds per game. RJ Barrett, from his position, averaged 5.8. If you put RJ Barrett in a position to rebound, he can probably average 8 rebounds a game. Nerlens Noel last season was in a position to rebound and average 6.4 rebounds. RJ Barrett wasn't really in that position, and he averaged 5.8. He's probably a better rebounder than Nerlens Noel. So now
I'm not contesting that at all, Sim. That's not what I'm contesting at all.
So yes, that is. Because you're saying you want Nerlens Noel to be under the basket so he can get offensive rebounds. When RJ Barrett is probably a better rebounder than Nerlens Noel. So you can have Nerlens Noel being ready to get back so that he can touch the paint and be ready to block shots in the event that there's a fast break. You can have RJ Barrett hitting the boards and Evan Fournier and Kemba Walker getting back on defense.
That's not what I'm saying at all, Sam. What I'm saying is if you're going to run a system like that where Nerlens Noel is spread out, I think you are limited in transition defense. You heard me.
I just explained, but
that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying.
I just explained how you will still have your transition defense. I just explained that to you.
Josh, and you got to remember that. Yeah, and Josh, you got to remember that Nerlens isn't going to start after they get the defensive rebound. He's going to go for the board when the shot is up. So it's not like he can only move when they get the rebound, because that would put him in a way disadvantage because he would have the longest way to come back on defense, right? But he's going to go for the board when the shot is up.
Or maybe they haven't run out.
He's still going to start going back, on defense from the same position he was doing it last season.
I wouldn't even have him go for the board. I'd have him go run out and get into the fast break to be that protector at the rim.
Either way, I think it can work, and you can still have transition defense. I don't think that I don't think you're double talking at all when you say those things, because there's, like Tony said, there's 5 guys on the court. It's not one person that has to grab rebounds. It's 5 guys that have to grab rebounds. Did you see? One of the principles was what? Team rebounding, gang rebounding, G-A-N-G. That does not spell Noel. It's Gang, gang rebounding. That does not spell Nerlens Noel. It's gang. It's the team rebounding. Team rebounding. Either way, Obi, and we got to this topic, ladies and gentlemen, because we were talking about Obi and Randle on the floor and the reasons why Tom Thibodeau might want Nerlens Noel to work on that three-point shot so that he can play, he can play a little bit wider open. That would be the purpose of having Obi and Randle on the floor at the same time. But Tony, I'm going to get to you in 1 second, Nate. Tony, your thoughts.
Yes,
Any
sir.
thoughts on it, man? Any thoughts on it?
On Obi, back to Obi.
Yeah, Obi and Randle.
I agree with Thibodeau. I think the only way that works is if one of them proves to be able to play the three, and I think that's the best chance that we're gonna see those two guys play significant minutes together. I think I don't think either one is a great, a great rim protector. So I think we lose too much, and that's probably our biggest defensive strength as a team. So why even mess with that?
Yeah, that's true. I think, if you're playing a team if you're playing the Warriors and Draymond Green is the starting center, and then they have whoever else is playing power forward is also 6'8", then you might be able to rock with it a little bit. Again, it's going to go back to the matchups and who the Knicks are playing. If you're playing the 76ers and Joel Embiid is on the floor, you're not touching that lineup at all. Not even close.
Or the bench. Or
the bench.
Drummond.
Or Drummond, right. Or Drummond, right. You're not touching that lineup at all. But teams where, they have a smaller center playing, maybe you see that lineup a little bit. But last year, I don't think he liked it defensively at all, though. I don't think he liked it defensively. He talked about the rim protection, and that was kind of brought up by one of the reporters. But I think overall, he's kind of saying, I didn't like it defensively. I didn't feel where it was going defensively. This is the reason why he said Obi got a lot better, I think. Because now he was kind of probably talking about that defense, that Obi's defense has gotten better. So maybe I can take a look at it again. Go ahead, Nate.
Yeah, I think that, we talked about Tibbs, how he kind of throws little sudden points rather than like really emphasize. He kind of just throws it in there as like just hear it and not really say a lot about it. Rim protection is a big one for him. And you can tell by the message has been consistent. Rim protection, rim protection, rim protection. So if we're talking about, in the case of who's going to finish at the end of games and if we're going to see Randle or Obi together, I'm going to say none of the above. We're going to see either Mitch or Noel out there at the end of games, and you're going to see a center out there most of the games. You're not going to see a small ball lineup.
Hold up.
Even if there is this team that has a smaller center, I think Tibbs's mentality is, hey, our shot blockers can take over those smaller guys. Even though they're quicker, we can still block those shots right at the rim. And I think that he's going to emphasize a lot of rim protection this year. And you're going to see either both of those out there almost all the time. I would be shocked if I see Randle playing the 5 or you see Obi or Randle playing together because neither one of them have any shot blocking ability at all. Right, and Noel and Mitch can bring that to the table.
You're not saying Noel and Mitch on the floor together.
Huh?
You're not saying that he's going to have Noel and Mitch.
No. I'm saying you're going to have one of those dudes on the court at all times because he values protecting that rim at all times. And you're not going to have Randle playing a small ball 5, and you're not going to have Obi or Randle playing together because you lack that shot blocker inside. So I think at all times it's going to be either one of those dudes.
Right. Hey,
even when they play small ball.
If Nerlens Noel is shooting 42% from the 3-point line, you never know. You might have Mitch and Nerlens Noel out there together, huh, Josh?
No, that's me. I think that could happen.
Noel's too much of a beat.
I'd be so surprised. I'm not rooting against it. If it works, it works. But I just would be very, very surprised. I'm not as optimistic as you guys about it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not saying I'm optimistic about him making the shots. All I'm saying is I think it's the right idea. Is he going to make the shots? I think he probably can. You know, is he going to shoot them all the time? Is he going to shoot 5 a game? No. Is he going to shoot 2 a game? Probably not. But when the time comes and they're leaving him open and he gets the ball out there, he needs to launch it.
Sim,
he was part of the problem in the playoffs. You know what I mean? Like a lot of the blame goes to Randle because he's our leader. But come on, the limitations of our teammates, of his teammates, was exposed, and that's what really killed us. You know what I mean? And it put more eyes on Randle than I think anybody else. I mean, deservedly so. But the limitations of, you know, Peyton, Bullock, and Noel was really exposed.
Yeah.
And RJ and Randle pretty much showed it everything, and didn't perform.
And Tony, you hit the nail right on the head. If you guys watch that Alan Hahn recap of the offseason, kind of talking about the media day and all that, he made a big point about saying that Capella got to do whatever he wanted to do. And that's why the Knicks really lost that series, because they didn't have that enforcer like Mitch, and Nerlens Noel was not even a threat to Capella. So Capella was able to just do whatever he wanted to do, didn't have to really worry about guarding anybody. So he was free to do, anything he wanted. Yeah. And so I think that's absolutely true that, you know, having Mitch in that playoff series would have really shifted the focus, because Capella would have had to guard a 7-footer that could jump out of the building compared to a guy in a Noel who is a hell of a shot blocker, but has hands like, you know, whatever, can't catch anything.
Yeah. All right. Well, let me get to a phone call here. Caller, you're live. Tell me your name and where you're from. Caller, you here? Can you turn it down in the background, please? Hey, yo, my man, you here? Okay, I guess he wasn't paying attention. Call in, ladies and gentlemen, 516-405-2246. You got to be ready, though, folks. You know, you can't be, you know, I mean, I know you listening and you're eating dinner or lunch or eating a snack. You got your fruit snacks in front of you or something like that. You know what I mean? But you got to be ready to pick up when the time is there. You got to be ready to go. We got rookies in the house, ladies and gentlemen. We got rookies. Tom Thibodeau said, you know, quickly, he said he likes our rookies, and I'm pretty sure he does. We haven't been able to hear from our rookies that often, but we'll get a chance to hear from Quentin Grimes and his experience in his first NBA training camp. It's Quentin Grimes, ladies and gentlemen.
Kind of the first few days and kind of getting into Thibodeau every day, feeling.
Yeah, it's been going really well. Yesterday was the first day of training camp. Was doing really well. Everybody competing hard. The vets coaching up the rookies, me, Miles, and Deuce. I feel like we're really gelling really good right now.
You do between summer league and coming here. And I guess how early did you come here? And you were part of like the scrimmages before camp started?
Yeah, we had about like 2 weeks off after summer league, and then Tibbs was here right away. All the rookies we got here we were here for about a month before training camp. We kind of go through the same routine, trying to figure out. He was just showing us what we're gonna expect coming into training camp. So right now, the training camp has been really good. Going from drill to drill, knowing what to expect.
Is there any surprise so far for you?
There really hasn't been any surprises, because he had us doing the same drills before training camp at like 10 times the speed to get ready for how it was going to be. So he had us in tip-top shape coming into training camp, and that's a big kudos to him as a coach, really.
Emmanuel was saying yesterday that he and Obi kind of have gone through the last year, like trying to be there with you guys, the rookies this year, kind of helping guys. Have you seen that from those guys, young guys?
Yeah, definitely. Just like in a drill, like a new drill that we haven't done before, they know they just go next, or make sure y'all get to the corner early, so we know when we get on the court that Tip doesn't have to coach us or anything. We know exactly what to do. So that definitely helps having those guys gone through the motions already.
What's it been like for you just going up against the NBA players every single day from a competition perspective?
Yeah, it's great. That's what you live for. It's what you get up every morning and come do, competing against guys like Derrick Rose, who you've been watching since you were a kid. Kemba, who's been playing at an all-star level ever since he's really been in the league. So it's just fun to go out there and compete every day. I think that's what brings the best out of us and what's going to get us better every single day.
You mentioned like some of this.
You say that again? Just being more comfortable with the ball. I feel like the coaching staff had really kind of put me in positions that come off screen and rolls, just trying to make reads. Coach Tibbs is big on if you got a matchup, attack it, make the right rim read, and I feel like he gives the guards a lot of freedom. And I feel like that's what I was working the most on after summer league.
I think I saw Robin Lopez talking to Orlando about what he's making the rookies do.
Mm-hmm.
Have you started getting assignments already from the veterans?
We haven't, but I hope you can just jinx us right there. So hopefully we haven't had anything to do right now, but so hopefully we don't get anything. But you might just jinx us on that one right there.
You mentioned the veterans helping out the young guys. Is there one or two guys that you kind of picked their brain or leaned on, or they've reached out to you to help out with stuff?
Yeah, I think the two guys have really been Kemba and D Rose. I feel like they both helped me for sure, just going in drill, just telling us what to expect, competing every day in training camp, how it's going to be during the season, just little things to do recovery wise. So just having two big time veterans like that is going to be really big for my development for sure.
You mentioned playing with players you grew up watching. Is there, when you look at the schedule, is there one team or one player you're like, damn, I can't wait for that guy?
I wouldn't say, not really. I feel like I try to just take it one day at a time. You never know. It's a long season. Yeah. Maybe like LeBron. I think LeBron is like, I think that's every kid's dream. Is he been in the league since almost as long as I've been alive, really. So just going against LeBron like that, I think that would be something that would be, nerves gonna be a little bit high for that game for sure.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Quentin Grimes. Not much that he can really give us right now because he's just starting. He's just starting out. So, not much that he can give us. What I do like that I hear from him is that the Obis and Quicklies, and I don't want to say are taking the young guys under their wing, but taking the rookies or the new guys to the team under their wing and showing them some things so that they'll be ready when it's time for them to step on the floor. And that's how you start to grow your leadership within the organization. You know what I mean? Guys like Obi and Quickly who've been there for 1 year, they, go to the new rookies and say, hey, all right, let me show you what happened with me last year so you understand how to go through it, so on and so forth. And you start to develop leaders within your team. And now everybody's a leader. Obviously, there's going to be people who are at the top of the totem pole, but then some of those guys like the Obis and the Quicklies, they're going to move up that totem pole as the years go on. And you want them to have that leadership experience. So it's pretty good. Pretty good. Caller, let me get to this caller. Caller, you're live. Tell me your name and where you're from.
Hey, everyone. I'm Kenny. I'm from Queens.
What's going on, Kenny? How you feeling?
I'm doing very well. Very well. Thank you. Hi, everybody. Josh, Tim. Who else is that? I forgot the name. All right. Oh, Tony and
Andy, Nate.
How's everybody doing? I watch you guys all the time.
Appreciate you.
Definitely. Appreciate you. I just want to say I'm very excited for this season. I think I want to jump myself. I don't think I'm jumping out the window just saying that. I think that we're going to win over 53 games. Actually, I think we have the potential to be number one in the East. And I think we have answers for the Milwaukee Bucks all over the court. As long as we keep growing together. We could throw Obi at him. We could throw Randle at him. We have a bench who get fouls, get into foul trouble, and still have enough depth to get over. I'm very, very excited with this team. I'm even more excited hearing that Noel is going to shoot threes to open the floor more. My goodness.
There's a lot of pieces on this team. There's a lot of pieces on this team, and there's a lot of depth on this team.
Absolutely. And let me ask you guys something. Did anybody think that we were going to make the playoffs last year?
No, I don't think anybody did. Well, I thought maybe we could be in the play-in, right? Be in the top 10 teams. I thought maybe we could be there.
Well, I didn't. I thought that us winning probably 10 more games was going to be an achievement from the year prior. Tibbs is a great coach. I spoke to you in the beginning of last year as well, how excited I was that I trust in Tibbs. Maybe you remember that quote from me.
Mm-hmm.
I spoke last year. Wow, amazing job he did. And I'm hearing everybody speak, and everybody's on the same page, even the rookies. Tibbs really got this well-oiled right now. And I'm telling you, I think that we're going to surprise a lot of people this year.
Okay.
I mean, we have a point guard that can actually score now.
We do.
That can hit an open shot. You know how much more fluid we're going to be? I mean, plus he's also experienced. I mean, he don't have to score more than 14 points a game for us to win 60 games. This team is going to do very well.
Okay, all right.
I think we have the best team in the East right now.
Wow.
And if we don't win the championship next year, for whatever reason, we will win it the next year.
Okay. And, well, it sounds like you and Evergreen have some things in common. Evergreen believes we're going to win the championship this season. Hey, my man, I appreciate the optimism. I thank you for your call. All right, I know we got some other people on the line. And Kenny it is, right? Kenny, I appreciate your time, man, and hope to hear from you soon.
All right.
Thank you.
Peace.
Thank you, sir. Bye, guys.
Make sure you timestamp that one. We got his name, Kenny.
Okay. So we were 41-31 last year, right? We didn't play 10 games. If we played those other 10 games, let's say we go 500. That's 46 wins. Does Kemba and Evan Fournier give you 6 more wins?
That's a loaded question. And that's very, very loaded.
Why is it loaded? I didn't say it didn't get better. All I'm saying is.
So did we.
All I'm saying, exactly, so did we.
But that was in his question.
Huh?
That was in his question. The East got better, but he said, does Kemba and Evan Fournier add 6 wins? Okay, but what about the rest?
But we got better. But what I'm saying is we got better. I didn't say anything about us having a better record than this team or that team. I talked about the win total. That's all I said is the win total. Mm-hmm. I said last year we were 41-31. We missed 10 games. If you cut those 10 games in half, say we go 500. That's 46 wins and 36 losses. So my question is, he says he thinks we can get to 53 wins. Let's say 52. Does Kemba and Evan Fournier add 6 more wins to your win total?
Is that a healthy Mitch too?
Healthy Mitch. Yeah. Let's assume all the teams are healthy.
Yes.
Does it add 6 more wins to your record?
Yes.
Because I seen Josh throw his hands in the air and we can see his apples and all this kind of stuff, right?
Because I'm going to tell you
when he said 52, 53 wins.
It's all hypothetical because you're assuming that the Knicks go 500 in the extra 10 games. That's an assumption. That's hypothetical.
Well,
right?
okay, but wait a minute. Hold up. Yes, it is an assumption. It's an assumption. But given that the Knicks were they weren't even 500. They were 41-31. So they were above 500 last year. I'm giving them 500 in those other 10 games. So I'm giving them less than what a worse percentage than what they played last year.
But you're also including Kemba and Evan Fournier in the conversation. So you're including the fact that the Knicks. Hold on, I get that. I got that part. You're saying they're going to go 500 in the other 10 games that they didn't play. But you're also saying with the additions of Kemba Walker and Evan Fournier, that should give the Knicks at least 6 more wins. But you're conveniently leaving out the fact that the Eastern Conference got better as well, and the majority of the the Knicks schedule is against the Eastern Conference, against teams within the division. However,
but then okay. So if I'm leaving that out, then you're leaving that out. Then you're leaving out that they got to play us, and we got better.
The Knicks are not okay. So
they're not better.
The Knicks are not. No, the Knicks are not better than most of the teams in the Eastern
Hold
Conference.
up, but wait a minute. Hold up.
Top 3 seed.
No. Check this out. You're saying that our 6 wins, if Evan Fournier and Kemba add 6 wins to us, I'm leaving out the other teams got better. But then that means you're leaving out with them that we got better because they got to play us too, and we also got better.
No, Sam, I'm adding that to the equation. I'm adding everything together. I'm not conveniently leaving out anything. I'm saying the Knicks add Kimball and add Evan Fournier, and I'm saying add the rest of the Eastern Conference getting better too. I think the Knicks can win around 46, 47 games, like, add 6 wins, period, to the total from last season. That's what I'm saying. I
think that we're going to be 41-31. I think we can still. I mean, you got to factor in those 10 games that you didn't play. I think we can add to the win total, factoring in those games.
You think we could be a 50-win team?
Close to it. I think we could. And in the Eastern Conference,
I think we get close. I think we can get close to that. I think that's fair.
Okay, so if it's fair to say we can get close to 50, and that guy said 53.
He also said number 1 team in the conference, Sam.
Okay, but I know, but you threw your hands in the air when he said 53 wins.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the Knicks are a 50-win team yet. They're not. They're close to it, but they're not there yet.
You just said it. Okay. You just
close to it. Not there.
You just said they can get
everybody else
50
win 60. So we'll win 53. We'll win 53, and everybody else win 60.
You just said he can get the 50 wins.
And Josh, nobody forgot to mention anything. We could all assume that we know the East got better, the Knicks got better. Like, just take the question for what it is. Do we win? Can we?
No, because we always have this thing where we forget. We tend to not forget, but we downplay other teams. We want to big up our team. We can understand we're Knicks fans, but we got to be realistic. Listen, I'll be the first one to tell you I was wrong about the team last season. I'll be the first one to raise my hand and say I was absolutely wrong because I was criticizing this team. You guys know it. I came down on this team and James Dolan and all that stuff. So listen, I was wrong for that. But now the Knicks are in a position where they're better. But I'm not going to overhype them and say they're going to win a championship and be number 1 in the conference. And
we get that. That's cool. That's cool.
Josh,
we get that.
Josh, every one of us was wrong. You just was more wrong. Like, you know what I mean? Like I was predicting 36, 37 wins and got killed for that. You know what I mean? So I was still wrong.
All right.
But the point is, I think everybody here, I don't think none of us are like real homers like that. I've been accused of it the most probably in recent times, but I think we're more realistic. I think we look at the East, you know what I mean? We look at the West, we look at everything. I don't think most of us here on the panel, not necessarily, you know what I mean, all Knicks fans. I'm saying everybody that comes on the show visually, I think we all know the East got better.
Yeah.
And I don't think the question is loaded. I think it's a legit question. Like he said, 10 more games and saying we went 500 in those 10 games, that's fair. You know what I mean? Like a homer would have said we won 7 out of 8. 7 out of 10.
No, the reason why I said it's loaded is because you forgot the other part of the rest of the Eastern Conference. That's why I said that. I'm not saying everything that you did say was loaded.
Okay, so let me ask you. So hold up. So let me ask you. Can the Knicks go 500 against the Eastern Conference?
The bottom half.
Yes.
Yes, they can go 500. So when I say those 10 games, you split them in half, that's going 500 against the Eastern Conference this year. That gives you 46.
Wait, this year or last year? This year or last year?
No, what I'm saying is you add 10 more games to the schedule this year. Right? With last year's team, I think with last year's team, we can go 500 against the Eastern Conference.
I think that's fair. Yep.
Right? Okay. So then you split that in half. That gives us 46 wins. So my question is, now you just said with last year's team, we could go 500 against the Eastern Conference. Now you add Kemba. Now you add Evan Fournier. Hopefully you got a healthy Mitch. Does that give you 6 more wins? I think it does. Against the Eastern Conference. Against this year's Eastern Conference. I think it does. That's all I'm saying. Let me get to this phone call.
Okay.
Let me get to this phone call. Caller, you're live. Tell me your name and where you're from.
What's up, gents? It's Nick in Jersey City.
What's going on, Nick? This is my man that was eating the fruit snacks, man, when we was trying to get you on the line.
No, we got cut off.
What's going on, Nick?
How's it going?
I'm good.
I think they're going to be at least a 45 win team, maybe, between 45 and 50. I mean, they were 41 and 31. You add the 10 games. If they go 500 right there, that's 46 and 36. And, they're going to be better than 500, most likely, because they're a better than 500 team. So I see 48 and 34 is probably where they're going to be, around the 5th seed or the 6th seed.
Right.
That's
and I agree with that.
Okay, 5th seed or 6th seed. I just want to make sure we're in the play.
They're going to bring it every night. And in terms of finishing, who's going to be on the floor? Last year Thibodeau, he did really anybody who was hot. Randle was on the floor every time. But other than that, he mixed and matched. Sometimes RJ was sitting and it was Burks out there. So I see it being like, I think he's going to do the 2-point guard set, assuming everybody's healthy. I think you're going to see Kemba and Rose out there, because Rose is his guy and Kemba is a shot creator. So you got two guys right there that could handle the ball at the end of the game. And then you got Randle at the 4. And then for the 3 spot, it's going to be, either Fournier or Burks or RJ. And then at the 5 spot, whichever center's hot. And in terms of going small, I can see him going small too. And if they need, if they're down 10, you put Randle at the 5 and, whoever's feeling stronger that day at the 4, RJ at the 4, Fournier at the 3, and then the 2-point guards. But he's going to go with who's hot. Most likely it's going to be Kemba, Rose, Randle, and then whoever else. It's my opinion.
Okay. All right. It's definitely going to be interesting down the stretch of games. And Tom Thibodeau has, it's a tough job, but it's a job that any coach wants to have. Let me ask you, do you think this is the deepest team Tom Thibodeau's had?
I'm not really familiar with all the teams he's had. Those Chicago teams early in his career, that they were clearly better. But this is the deepest Knicks team we've had in years. It reminds me of the 2012-13 team in terms of depth, but the difference is that we're young. That team was deep, but they were all on the last 2-3 years of their career, with the exception of Melo. This is the same kind of depth as that team that won, what did they win, 54 games? But, everybody's coming into the league now. You just look at a guy like Sims. Sims, we're not even talking about Sims. But if we didn't have Noel, if we just had, let's say we just had one of these centers, right, instead of all 3 of these guys, Taj, Noel, and Mitch, we'd be so excited about Sims right now, based upon what he did in the summer.
Right.
He's our 4th center. And this guy, it's like, you put Sims out there with Obi or Mitch, it's like unbelievable athleticism. So, yeah, I think they're incredibly deep. And, I think McBride and Grimes are going to put a lot of pressure on these guys. I'm not really thinking about Knox, but, you still got Knox out there and Bulldozer as well.
Yeah. You forget about Bulldozer. He's in a boot, obviously, so he's not going to be playing anytime soon. And we'll see if he actually becomes a guaranteed player, but he's there. And,
and somebody's going to get hurt, unfortunately,
Right.
Kemba and Rose will split time, and that's great because neither one of them has to play more than 30 minutes right now if he wants to structure it that way, which is going to save their knees. It's going to save them for the playoffs. But in the event that one of them needs to take off, all right, so you put McBride in, or RQ gets more minutes, or IQ is going to play anyway, but put McBride in, or you move Burks down to the point and put Grimes in, or something like that. Like, they have so much depth right now, and I'm really excited. And I think they're going to bring it every night. I'm hoping for 50 wins, but it doesn't matter as long as they go into the playoffs healthy.
There you go.
And they get past that first round. They continue to grow as a team. That's a win.
Yeah, there you go. They have the depth, and they also have versatility. The only position where they really don't have versatility is the center spot.
Yeah.
Right, they don't have much versatility there. There's only so many things that Nerlens Noel and Mitchell Robinson can do on the floor. But in every other position, they have some good versatility. You got Randle at the 4, but you got Obi who can play the 4, and Knox, if he ever seen the light of day, can play the 3 or the 4. Right, Randle can play some 5.
Right.
RJ can play the 2 or the 3. Fournier can play the 2 or the 3. Derrick Rose can play the 1 or the 2. Kemba can play the 1 or the 2. Quickly can play the 1 or the 2.
IQ could play the 1 or the 2.
Right. Grimes can play. McBride can play the 1 or the 2.
Grimes is a 2 or a 3.
Grimes is a 2 or a 3. Right. Burks is a 2 or a 3 and can play some 1 in a pinch.
Yep.
You know, so there's a lot of versatility on this team. A lot.
They have shooters and they have ball handlers.
Yeah.
You know, last year I think the ball was in Randle's hands too much. I know he's your best player. You got to get in his hands, but I'd like to see him play off the ball more and take that pressure off him in terms of creating his own shot. And you know Kemba's going to do that. Kemba could create his own shot too, but he's going to be able to create that shot for Randle. And I'm expecting big things from the team.
Yeah, no doubt. Hey, Nick, I appreciate your time, man.
Thanks a lot.
All right, have a good one, my brother. Enjoy those fruit snacks. Looking at the age of our team, ladies and gentlemen, I'm looking at it right now. And RJ Barrett, he's 21. Okay, Alec Burks is 30. Evan Fournier, 28. Quentin Grimes, 21. Jokic, he's 20. Miles McBride is 21. Emmanuel Quickly is 22. Derrick Rose is 32. Vildoza is 26. Kemba Walker is 31. Taj Gibson is 36. Kevin Knox, 22. Julius Randle, 26. Obi Toppin, 23. Nerlens Noel is 27. Mitchell Robinson's 23. We have a young team with some strong veterans, right? Taj Gibson, 36 years old. Kemba Walker, 31. And Derrick Rose is 32. So we got like 4 guys who were in their 30s. Everybody else is in their early to late 20s. So we have a good mix of veterans and young players. And then, young vets. Good mix on this team, I think.
Tim, I just want to comment on something that you said about the Knicks being versatile. And I think that's absolutely correct. But I think, just because we have a lot of players that can play those positions, not just the players you mentioned, but the other ones that you didn't mention as well, right? I think if the Knicks lose Kemba Walker, and knock on wood, I hope this does not happen. If he is hurt for a considerable amount of time, I think there's a huge drop-off there. A huge drop-off in starting point guard play, and it affects the team more. Not saying a huge drop-off between Kemba and Derrick Rose, but I think that the impact of losing Kemba Walker definitely hurts our chances, in our seeding a lot. A lot more than any other player on the team.
So let me ask you, with the Phoenix Suns, if they lose Chris Paul,
huge.
Is it such a big, the same type of drop off, right?
Yeah,
I think every other team, every other team in the league, there's a big drop off between their starting point guard and their bench point guard, right? Actually, with the Knicks, I don't think there's that big of a drop off between Kemba Walker and Derrick Rose, because you can now take Derrick Rose and put him in the starting lineup. Now, who comes in? Is there a drop off between Derrick Rose and the next person? I think that's where there's a big drop off, right? But most teams in the league, there's a huge drop off between the starting point guard and the bench point guard.
Mm-hmm.
And so now you bring your bench point guard in the league in the starting lineup, and you're like, can he do it? But see, with the Knicks, we know Derrick Rose can do it. Now it's about the second guy. I think the Knicks.
Can he though?
Huh?
Can he hold up with his injury history? I'm not saying talent-wise, but with his injury history as well. That's what I'm saying. If you lose Kemba Walker, you lose.
Are you saying Kemba Walker going down for the entire season? Because just like any other team in the league, if your starting point guard goes down for the entire season, now you're figuring out, okay, what are we going to do with this backup point guard spot?
I'm not saying losing Kemba Walker. Obviously, if you lose Kemba Walker for the entire season, then yes, it's going to be, it's going to be detrimental to your team. I'm talking about if Kemba Walker, if it's inconsistent, if it's inconsistency with his health, I think that can really, really affect his team more than any other position. You mentioned center. I think it's going to be at the point guard position, specifically Kemba Walker. I think bringing him in and having him healthy is the most important thing for this team. We've seen lack of point guard play for the last 20 years.
I get that. I was talking about versatility. That is the least versatile position on the team. Our centers can't do anything else but play center.
I got you.
So they're not as versatile. Is Kemba Walker the key to the team? Maybe. But when you look at our team compared to other teams in the league, we have a lot of strength at that point guard spot.
It's our strongest position.
We have a lot of
If
strength.
they're not healthy, if they're not healthy, there's no strength there.
Well, that's with every team in the league. That's with every team in the league. Last year, the Denver Nuggets had Jamal Murray, and everything was hunky-dory until he got hurt at that spot.
Sam, I'm talking about
you know what
specifically with Derrick Rose and Kimball Walker, specifically with those two, because of the injury history. That's what I was talking about.
Well,
obviously, it's obvious.
Right, but I get that, but I'm just saying, it's like that. We're coming into a new season. Every team in the league is going to have the same things going on with their teams, right? Can they withstand injury? You're one step away. If you're John Wall, all you got to do is walk down the steps and you might get injured. You know what I mean? Come on. Go ahead, Tony.
Nah, I think you're wrong, Josh. I think we have enough to sustain a short-term injury, a 5-game stretch for either one of them. Now, it is true. It is crucial that they can't miss, 20 games, 30 games, anything like that. But a small dosage, I think we're fine. We're deep enough. That's our deepest position. We have guys that can come step down and pick up the role. Quickly, we've seen that's all he worked on as far as summer league. We've seen Burks in the position. I'm not even talking about McBride yet because I think he's got to earn it, and we got to see it for him to earn it. Coach got to see it for him to earn it. It's a short period of time, man. Like how can that be so crucial? Rose could step up and be the starter, or he could stay off the bench, and we could put somebody else because the guys put somebody else in the starting unit because the guys are everybody else in the starting unit. They can create for themselves. They can score the basketball. So it's really a matter of bringing the ball up the court. You know what I mean? Like it's a totally different, different thing.
And to be honest with you, I'm gonna ask you two questions. Well, I'm gonna make a comment and then ask you a question. If you lose Kemba, they might not even take Rose out of the starting lineup. You might see him elevate McBride or someone into that lineup because all that point guard has to do, you're shaking your head, but all that point guard has to do is be able to get the ball up the floor, get it to the right people, and knock down the three and play defense. McBride can get the ball up the floor. He can play defense, and he can knock down the three. That's what the point guard will have to do. Kemba can do more. But at your baseline level, that's all that guard will have to do in that lineup because you have so many people who can create. And then you keep your bench intact. But let me ask you this. Do you think IQ can play that point guard spot?
Hell no.
I'm talking to Josh.
I think there's still some questions there. I know we were talking with the coach the other day, but I do think there's some questions there. We don't know. We don't know for sure yet.
Yeah, go back and look at that interview and see what Josh said at the end. See what he said at the end. Ladies and gentlemen, go back and look at the interview and see what Josh said at the end of that interview about quickly.
Keep IQ what he does best for the basket. Let him do that.
So let me ask a question. You think, and you're probably gonna answer this correctly now that you've been called out, but do you think the drop off from quickly at the backup point guard? I won't even compare him to Rose. Compare him to backup point guards throughout the league, because that's the way we would have to look at it. You know what I mean? If Rose was promoted to starter, we got to compare whoever's the backup to the backups across the league. We know Rose can handle that starting position. The problem is we don't want him to play 36, 35 minutes at that position. So do we have somebody who could play 24 minutes at that and do a split with Rose other than Kemba? Do we have somebody who could play 30 minutes? You know what I mean? Like, so that's the way you got to look at it.
I'm personally just not a fan of the revolving door at the point guard position. I'm not a fan of that.
If someone's hurt, you have no choice.
But that's what I'm saying. That's not an ideal situation, Tom and Sim. That's not an ideal situation. With the Knicks, that's a possibility this season. I think that's more of a detriment. Hold on, time out. I think that's more of a detriment than a plus.
That's what I'm saying. Mitch getting hurt last year was not ideal. Look what happened. Because I thought it was over after that.
Yes, and Nerlens Noel was a steady presence at that position. After you lose Kemba Walker, if the Knicks lose Kemba Walker, Derrick Rose is not going to be steady. There's possibility of injury there. That's what I'm saying.
Did you think Noel could hold it down when Mitch got?
No, but he did, and that's what I'm saying. He was steady. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying Derrick Rose can't hold it down, but I'm saying there's question marks there. There's obvious question marks at the point guard position.
You also have to understand too. Whenever your starting player goes down, everybody's role changes, and everybody's out of place, and so you don't necessarily have that cohesion that you had with that starter because everybody's doing something different than they weren't doing before.
Which is the reason why I could see someone like McBride stepping into the starting unit. So you keep this
Rose is off the
bench the same, and you only have to make one adjustment now instead of making two adjustments.
It don't even got to be McBride. We haven't even seen Luka yet. We don't know if he's gonna what they like in him.
We will see.
I think they want McBride more than Luka.
We will see. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been a great conversation. Josh wasn't able to do his controversy show today, so he had to come in with some controversy. He started in the chat talking about a 29-year-old or something. I don't even know what was going on. But ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us today. We'll be back tomorrow with day 3 of Knicks Training Camp news, and we'll break down whatever happens then and have some more great discussions. Make sure you keep this number in tap, lock it into your phone so you can call in and we can talk to you. We can get your input. All right. Like and subscribe to the channel. Ring that notification bell so you'll be notified whenever we go live, drop a video, whatever it is. Make sure you hit the all button to receive all notifications. And if you haven't done it, do it right now so that you can receive all notifications. Before we get out of here, I just want to get some last words, man. Tony, last words?
Yo, shout out to the chat, Sim. Keep doing your thing. I appreciate you. Shout out to the panel. Your Blackest Time. Oh, I'll be on in a few minutes.
All right.
Knicks and Bruises.
Okay.
Look out.
Bet. Josh?
Salute everyone. Of course, this is day 2 of training camp and day 2 where there's fireworks. So, again, like I said yesterday, just stay tuned. Stay tuned. We got so much more content for you. Controversy. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get that done today. However, it is coming soon, guys. So just stay tuned. I know I keep saying that, but it's going to happen. And, go Knicks. Always above everything.
Nate?
Yeah, Sim, I think you hit the nail right on the head. This team is probably the deepest and the most talented team that Tibbs has ever coached. What I was thinking in my head when you asked that question is that basically Tibbs is going to be forced to play more players, whether he likes it or not, because there's just too many good players on this bench that need playing time, and that you brought them back for a reason. You didn't bring them back for them to be sitting on the bench. You brought them back to be an integral part of this team. So Tibbs is going to have to swallow his pride and play more of a wider rotation, which I think he will, because there's just too much talent on this team.
Yeah, no doubt. Shout out to Leech of the Knicks podcast who's in the chat. Make sure you guys go check out his channel, subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. I haven't checked to see, but I don't know if he has a show tonight, but normally he has a training camp update. So if he does, make sure you check it out tonight. Normally it comes on about 8 or 8:30. All right, so go ahead and check that out. Before I get out of here, Queen's Court, Steph is also in the chat. Doesn't look like she was able to join us today, but big shout out to the Queen's Court and everybody else that's in the chat. We appreciate you all. Thank you for being here. And I guess I gotta switch up who gets this theme song. This is Josh's theme song when he comes in now. That's his theme song.
Okay.
That's his theme song now, ladies and gentlemen. We're out of here. Peace.
Okay. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.